Hello and welcome to this Thomas Egger presentation on the Bribery Act 2010. My name is Matthew Bridger and I'll be talking to you about some of the key sections of the new Act to help give you a better understanding of what some of the obligations are for individuals and companies who are operating a business in the UK. The Act came into force on the 1st of July 2011 and it's a significant piece of legislation not just because of the laws that it introduces, but for the statement that it makes about the government's desire to reduce and eliminate corruption. In some respects, though, it should mean business as usual, and this is because bribery has always been illegal. The key area to start with, though, is to look at what we actually mean by bribery. Now, in the most straightforward sense, bribery is where one person offers, promises or gives a financial or other advantage to another person, and they intend for that advantage to either induce the person to improperly perform a function or activity or reward them for having done so. Now, the Act goes a bit further in that it sets out 4 separate bribery offences. These are offering a bribe, receiving a bribe, bribing a foreign public official, and the key one here really, failing to prevent bribery within your organisation. For individuals convicted of an offence of bribery, it's a fine and possibly up to 10 years imprisonment. For organisations, it will be a fine. There's no cap on what the fine could be, and it can take into consideration your commercial operations outside of the UK. There is, however, a defence available called the Defence of Adequate Procedures, but it's only in relation to the Section 7 corporate offence of failing to prevent bribery within the organisation. Now, it's available if an organisation can demonstrate that it had in place adequate procedures to prevent persons associated with it from engaging in bribery. Now, there are no set rules about what adequate procedures will constitute. However, we know them to at least, at the bare minimum, mean the following: risk assessments to identify where your risk exposures are, policies and processes to address them, guidelines to help staff pick up on risk areas and deal with them, training of staff, ensuring compliance at all levels across the organisation, particularly at the top where there's got to be a strong commitment to anti-corruption being demonstrated. And it might mean additional measures such as setting up a whistleblowing process or introducing or reviewing your existing corporate hospitality and gift policies. Now, we weren't expecting a case on the Bribery Act to occur within the first 12 months, but one occurred within 4 months. And it involved an individual who was found guilty of requesting and receiving money in return for not entering details of traffic summons onto a court database. Now, he was a clerk at a magistrate's court, and he had the ability to prevent that particular information from being uploaded and from the traffic offence from ever being dealt with. Now, for his troubles, he received 3 years for the act of bribery, and he received 6 years for misconduct in a public office. Now, this was a pretty clear-cut case, but sometimes because the Act is so broad, it's not always easy to determine what might constitute bribery, particularly when we look at things such as lavish hospitality, certain gifts, and other particular advantages. The rule, though, to apply is the reasonable person test, and this requires us to think about what's reasonable. What's proportionate in the circumstances? Is it lavish? Is it over the top? And when was it given? Was it given at a time which looks particularly opportune, causing us to raise questions about what the actual intention was behind it? It's not always clear-cut. If you have any queries or questions about it, or you need guidance, please don't hesitate to give us a call, and if you'd like to do so, here are my contact details. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the presentation.